Welcome to Washington in Focus. I'm Carlene Johnson, along with Tim Clauser, our Eastern Washington government reporter for the Center Square, who had a bit of an exclusive in the last several days in the discussions for, I guess, years now of how to solve Spokane's homeless crisis, like many large metro cities. How hard to crack down on camping bans or not is long been discussed. But there are now some allegations of a bit of a quid pro quo, as Tim wrote about, and the Spokane Ethics Commission investigating what went down at a recent Spokane City Council meeting that sort of ended and then they resumed after the public left. Tim, there's a lot here to unpack, so I'll let you do the honors.
Yeah, a lot to unpack here, and we've talked about it on a few different segments, so I'll give you the short version here. Essentially, on June 16th, the council had this long-anticipated vote on a new citywide camping ban that the mayor had proposed. Now, that camping ban included a provision that required up to 7 days notice before law enforcement could break up a homeless encampment. So essentially, they would have to post this notice and say that encampment, the people there moved down the street. It would then require another 7 days notice before they could break up that encampment. So it kind of opened up a revolving door had the council passed it. Now, leading up to the vote, the community and a lot of businesses came out in opposition to the proposal, largely because of that provision that essentially let these encampments run rampant if it were to pass. Now, the council heard a wealth of testimony on June 16th over it. And then when it came down to their vote, the council president, Betsy Wilkerson, and former council member Lily Navarrete, who recently resigned, they both sided with the council's conservative minority and rejected the mayor's camping ban. Now, the community that was there at the meeting testifying in opposition to the camping ban because it wasn't tough enough, not because they didn't want the camping ban. A lot of them were overjoyed that the camping ban had failed. And since it was already late in the evening on a Monday night, they decided to pick up their stuff and go home. Now, around almost 11 o'clock, the council had a brief recess because the meeting did last until after 1 a.m. So they recessed for 10 minutes around 11. And then when they came back, they started talking about a new ordinance. And then after that ordinance, one of the progressive members motioned to reconsider the camping ban. Now, that brought it up to the plate again, put it on the agenda. They suspended parliamentary rules so they could discuss it. And essentially, they amended that 7-day notice period that they had just rejected. They amended it down to 3 days and then said, we're going to vote on this again on at a later day. I believe it was June 30th. Now, the community responded in uproar because of this, because they said, look, you just rejected this while we were all there telling you that we didn't want this. And now you're misinterpreting or misrepresenting our testimony to pass a different version that more aligns with your own agenda. So
was anybody still there? Was anybody still there as far as the public in the audience at that hour?
There was some people there. There was a community member that was seated in the council chambers who actually rose when Council President Betsy Wilkerson said, look, the community, something along the lines of the community is looking for a shorter notice period. They don't want 7 days, hinting that they might want 3 days instead. Now, one community member stood in the back and said, that's not what any of us want. We want that notice period removed entirely. Now, when the council voted on it on June 30th, they did pass the camping ban with an amendment to remove that notice period altogether. Now, it didn't satisfy all of the business community's wants and wishes, but it did so in that part. But that didn't really matter because the Ethics Commission had already received a complaint from a community member due to this flip-flop vote on June 16th. And this community member essentially alleged that there was a quid pro quo. So she's saying that she and other community members are saying that Mayor Lisa Brown had called or texted members of the progressive majority after the campaign ban had failed in an attempt to amend it and get it passed.
Can she do that? Or is that unethical?
That's kind of,
or what?
Well, I think that's up to the readers and the communities to decide if that's ethical. Now, the ethics complaint, the Ethics Commission discussed it last week in their meeting. An assistant city attorney, Megan Capon, she said, look, technically, the ethics complaint was filed in the right way, so they can review it. But in these ethics complaints, they have to cite a specific section of the ethics code that they believe is in violation. For them to investigate, it has to violate that specific code. And she said, in my opinion, none of the progressive majority or the Spokane mayor had violated the specific code cited. But they still raised concerns about other sections of the code that they didn't cite. And the Ethics Commission ultimately voted to move forward with an investigation, largely due to that allegation of quid pro quo.
Now, add in this other sidebar story, maybe not so sidebar, of the council member who's now taking a position with the city at the request of the mayor, and whether or not her vote might have been swayed one way or the other because of the new job.
Yeah, that's where things get a little fluffy. So, former council member Lily Navarrete, prior to this vote, she had announced her upcoming resignation effective June 30th, the day that they ultimately did pass the camping ban. So this was already in the weeds, but we weren't sure what that position was going to be until June 17th. The day after this sort of flip-flop vote. On June 17th, the Brown administration, Mayor Lisa Brown, she put out this statement on the city's website on behalf of former council member Lily Navarrete, saying, hey, look, sad to be leaving the council, essentially, but I'm going to be joining the city's community health and human services department, which is largely the department that handles homelessness and the funding around those projects. So they were saying, look, it kind of seems like she was offered this job in exchange for flipping her vote in favor of the 3-day camping ban. Now, I requested the text messages and the communications between the council and the mayor that night, and it appears that that's not so much the case, but it's not entirely out of question. So Lisa Gardner, the council's communications director, she had sent out a press release to a few reporters and news outlet on June 16th prior to that night's meeting with the statement saying that Navarrete would be joining the CHHS department. So that was already out there. But I also have text messages from a wealth of people that night, including the council's homelessness initiative manager, who said, I'll read the quote right here. Nicolette Ochiltree, the council's homelessness initiative manager, she was texting back and forth with council member Bingle as this was all playing out on the dais that night. And she said at 12:25 a.m. on June 17th, as the meeting was still ongoing, she texted Bingle and said, there should be a public records request for all communications between the mayor and council members between 6 p.m. and midnight. And he responded, you're absolutely correct. A minute later, she texted Bingle again and said, I feel like I want to file it, but I feel like I will get in trouble and that's not right. He then responded, I'll file this stupid. And then Ochiltree responded, I'm worried that they threatened Lily Navarrete's new job after she voted no. And to me, that creates a toxic conflict. Now, what we don't know is whether that job was threatened. I don't have text messages that show that her job was threatened. But I don't know if there were separate phone calls made on personal phone numbers or personal phones rather than city sanctioned lines. So that's what's in question right now, and largely what an independent investigator will be looking into moving forward.
So, okay, so not the Spokane Ethics Commission. There's going to be someone independently, because as you noted in your article, Tim, these folks on the Ethics Commission that kind of dismissed, I guess, the initial inquiry, are appointed by the mayor.
Yeah, you're correct there. So the Ethics Commission is entirely appointed by the mayor, the city mayor, Mayor Lisa Brown, and then approved by the council, essentially the progressive majority as they hold control of the dais.
What are the members? Are there only like 2 conservatives on the council, or what is it?
Yes. So there was 5 conservatives with Lily Navarrete, or 5 progressives and then 2 conservatives. And then after Navarrete left, in that interim period where there was no one filling her seat, there was only 4 progressives and then 2 conservatives. Okay. But on Monday, July 28th, the council appointed a new member aligning with the progressive majority's view. So, I mean, with that in mind, I think a lot of people had gone into that ethics commission meeting expecting the commission to dismiss the complaint, largely on what I said earlier about what the assistant city attorney said, that it didn't technically violate that specific session. And I came to the same conclusion reading the complaint myself. But the ethics commission steered the other way and decided to vote in favor of an investigation anyway. So essentially, this doesn't mean that the ethics commission will be investigating. It means that they cleared the way for an independent investigation to take place. So the commission will now hire an independent investigator who will look into the entire complaint. And then they said they anticipate a report on that in the next 45 days. Now, what I don't know is how this will impact the outcome of the vote, especially since the council, as I said, ultimately passed it on June 30th without that provision. So it's not really clear what will happen, but definitely something I'm trying to figure out.
And the camping ban, remind me what was adopted on the 30th, Tim. So no 7-day, no 3-day, no waiting period at all. So is it a camping ban within like 1,000 feet of like schools and parks or that sort of a thing? Give some of the parameters of that.
It's a citywide camping ban, so it's supposed to apply essentially anywhere that a public right-of-way or public property is being obstructed. But there's language in there that largely reflects Prop 1, which was a citizen initiative that passed in 2023 with nearly 75% of voter support to ban camping on public property within 1,000 feet of a school, park, or daycare. Now, the Supreme Court invalidated that citizen initiative back in April due to it falling outside the scope of the initiative process. But in doing so, they provided the council an opportunity to reinstate it word for word with a vote by the council. But the progressives, who don't really favor that policy, they rejected the conservative minority's attempt to reinstate that policy twice. And on June 16th and June 30th, quite a lot of people were advocating on behalf of Prop 1 and saying, look, reinstate Prop 1. And the progressive majority ultimately decided to go with Mayor Lisa Brown's camping ban instead, which it does apply citywide, but there's also provisions in there that if, say someone complies with a police officer's order to leave that area, they can't be cited and other things like that. So there's a lot of ways that someone that might be cited could still get out of the citation.
And I'm guessing at this point, we don't have any kind of a timeline for this independent ethics investigation into the June 16th council shenanigans or not. No timeline for what to expect there. I know you'll be all over it, but do you have any sense?
The Ethics Commission had noted last week during their June 23rd meeting that they expect a report within 45 days. So at this point, we're under 40 days. So probably in the next month or so, we could see a report on this. Hopefully, more explaining what happened that night, but also if it's substantiated, how that'll move forward. I mean, does it affect the outcome of the vote? Does it affect any of the council members' jobs? Could the council members or the mayor face charges, financial charges due to this? I don't know yet, but definitely something I'm going to keep my eyes on moving forward.
Tons of questions here. And this, is such a hugely important issue to business owners, community members, wherever you come down politically on the homeless issue, right? It affects all of us in our communities. So I'm so glad you've been following this closely, doing yeoman's work in covering these council meetings that go till sometimes 1 a.m. apparently. So
one more thing, Carlene, before you let us go. One thing I do want to know is while there's these allegations of quid pro quo, there are some text messages that I uncovered that do shed some more light on what happened that night. So just before the camping ban had failed, Mayor Lisa Brown reached out to two of the progressive members and said, appreciate your comments, referring to their council commentary, essentially advocating on behalf of her camping ban. And then minutes later, it failed. And within just a few minutes, the mayor texted three of the progressives and said, call me if you can. And one of them said that, look, I'll try to talk to Navarrete during the recess, and which the mayor responded again, call if you can. Now, that council member says he didn't talk to the mayor because the council president and another council member already were talking to Navarrete in the council's backroom lounge. But if you look at the meeting recording from that night, you can see him that council member that told me that he didn't go back there and talk to her. He was pacing back and forth around the dais for several minutes on his phone. So while I don't have text messages showing that he was talking to council members Zapone and Navarrete and council president Wilkerson at that time, it's unclear whether that was his personal phone or what was going on. And at one point, he does step out of frame for at least a minute or two just before those council members come back in from the council lounge. So it's hard to say what really happened. I think there's definitely questions as to whether what went down was ethical, but hopefully we do find out in the next 40 or so days.
Wow, that is fascinating. You paint a good picture there of the goings on. It's not like you're going to take personal phones away from, council staff or mayor's staff members. But at the same time, when you can do this and this and this, it certainly leaves a lot of questions. Well, hopefully that ethics investigator will get to the bottom of it. We'll get some answers, and I know you'll be all over it. So Tim Clouser, our Eastern Washington reporter for the Center Square, really appreciate your hard work on this. We can't wait for the next salvo, if you will. For now, I'm Carlene Johnson. This has been Washington in Focus.